morning or good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's session on getting mobile with VaultRE. My name is Tamara Ortiz and I'm part of the digital BDE team. So I'll be taking you through today's session all about the mobile app. I am going to pop a document in the chat just now, so do keep your eyes out for that. That document will be really handy for you being new to the app. It's going to take you through how to download the app, also all of the settings in the app, as well as setting up caller ID. So you'll be able to follow along in those instructions on how to download the app and the settings that you'll need to look at as well to set up within the app to ensure that the app is set up properly. So I'm going to pop that in the chat now. So I think I have connected my phone screen up. So I'm just going to try and bring that up on our screen now to start sharing my phone screen with you. So bear with me one moment while I do that. There we go. Beautiful. So hopefully everyone can now see my phone screen. So today I will be taking you through the features on an Apple device. I use an Apple, so an iOS version, but we do have videos available, recordings of this session on an Android device. So if you do use an Android device, do feel free to get in contact with either your local digital BDE or myself. My email is tortiz@raywhite.com, and we can share the copy of the Android recording with you as well. Did also want to point out that that document that I've dropped into the chat does contain the setup instructions as well for both Android and iOS devices. So no matter what phone you have, you should be able to use that document to help set up your app properly. So I'm going to jump into VaultRE now. You can see that sitting in the middle of my page. And sorry, I was just doing a little bit of training earlier on today. So I'll just jump out and jump into the dashboard view, which is what you will see when you first land in the Vault app. So when you open up, this is the screen that you will see. Yours may look slightly different if you are Android, but generally the same sort of features that we're looking for. I am going to spend 10 minutes right now talking about some very important settings that you do need to make sure are set up correctly. Again, step-by-step instructions on how to do these for both iOS and Android are contained within that document. So if you do need to refer back to that, you can as well. So just jumping in now, I am going to show you some important settings. There's obviously other settings. I won't have time to sort of run through everything today, but there are a few key points that I do want to highlight with everyone. So for the iOS device, it's that little settings cog in the top left-hand corner. If you're on an Android, I think it's like a 3-line menu in that top corner as well. Then when you click on that in the Android device, I think it will say something like see all application settings or something like that. So you'll need to click in that as well. And that will give you a list of application settings. So yours won't be broken down into sections like what we see here on the iOS device. You'll just have all of your settings sitting there as well. So I am going to skip past the top contact and notes section. There are some settings in there that you may wish to jump in and have a play around with. I'm going to go straight down to properties because I'm just trying to highlight the really important ones today. So in the properties section, I would, for all iOS users, suggest making sure that expand feedback section is toggled on. So you should see the green like what you're seeing on my screen now. You can also, in this area, just wanting to quickly point out, you can put a default property filter on in your app. So that way, when you're looking, when you go to the properties section, it only shows you your current listings or, you know, whatever you're wanting to see, you can filter it down. So if you go into properties at the moment, it's just going to show you every property in your database. Sorry. I think I've just got someone who wasn't on mute. I'll just pop them on mute now. So you can obviously put a filter on there if you're wanting to. Jumping back out of settings, I'm now going to the owner key feedback and kiosk area. And this is where probably the most critical settings are. So if you're on an Android device, you'll need to find the section that says default feedback type. So you can see that on the middle of my screen right now. I'm just highlighting it at the moment. So this default feedback type must say open home / inspection feedback. If yours says anything other than open home inspection feedback, which it probably will, you need to click on that one and then select open home inspection feedback. So this is what yours needs to look like. The next one down is the default message that will be placed on the vendor report if you don't enter any feedback or notes against that contact for their check-in. I think this sounds pretty all right, but if you want to customize it, you can. Again, not super important. Don't turn the allow offline duplicate check on. Only need to turn this on if you are going out into an area that doesn't have a lot of reception when we're checking people in, so a lot of phone reception. And again, if you're going to do this, don't try turning this on as you're heading out there and into dodgy internet. If you do know that tomorrow you have an open home and it's in a bit more of a rural setting or somewhere that doesn't have great reception, turn this on the night before, because it will download a copy of your database so that you can do an offline duplicate check as you're checking people in. The next one is very important. So the default contact categories for sale properties, this needs to be current buyers or something of the similar. So what do you want every person who checks into your open home, what category do you want the system to place them into? So when we were checking people in through HomePass, they would automatically go into our current buyers category. So that's probably what I would suggest here. So again, yours probably has nothing in this area, or it says none. So I would click on that one that's just highlighted in gray, the darker gray right now on the screen. So clicking on that one and then jumping in here and toggling on the ones that you want it to be sent into. So you can see I've selected prospective buyers. Yours will probably say default current buyers. So making sure whatever categories you need are turned on in here. Just jumping back out into the owner feedback area, just down the bottom is our kiosk mode options. So if we are using kiosk mode, then these become important. Kiosk mode isn't super popular in our network. However, if you are using kiosk mode, just make sure that kiosk check-in message doesn't say something like kiosk check-in, because that's what will feed onto your vendor report and your owner is going to have no idea what a kiosk check-in is. I will give you a quick look at the kiosk check-in when we do jump in and actually go through starting to check people into open homes. But yeah, if you want to use the kiosk check-in, just make sure that that message makes sense. And also, if you are going to use the kiosk check-in, I would suggest turning the show suburb postcode field on. Amazing. So then the last section that you have is the system and caller ID area. Now, this is totally different for the Android version. So if you are an Android user, again, please refer to the instructions that are in the chat. Jump in, open that document up and follow those instructions to set up your caller ID. I am quickly going to show you what you need to do on an iPhone for setting up the caller ID piece. But again, if you aren't sort of following along here, you can open that document and it does give you the step-by-step instructions. So the first step for an iPhone user is actually to jump out of the Vault app and go across into the settings area. So your phone settings. Open that one up and we're scrolling down until we find the phone. So highlighted in the sort of darker gray on the screen right now, jumping into my phone section. Then when I'm in my phone section, I'm scrolling down till I find call blocking and identification. I then select call blocking and identification, and I need to make sure VaultRE is turned on. So that's the extra piece you need to do for an iOS version. So make sure that is on. And then what we're going to do is jump back over into the app. And in that system and caller ID piece, we're going to press the populate caller ID database button at the top, highlighted in dark gray now. just pressing that one, and that will populate the caller ID database for us. So that's setting up the caller ID. So that's the settings section. Just wanted to, like I said, spend 10 minutes just taking you through some important settings. I'm now going to take you through the phone app. We'll have a look at the dashboard, playing around with your dashboard settings and the functionality that you get off of your dashboard. We're then going to do a deep dive into property, checking people in open homes, and some other functionalities that you have within the app. So jumping out of my settings section now, I'm back on my home page. Just starting from the top, we do have a search bar. We can obviously search contacts, properties, or price finder, like it's highlighting across the top of the screen. So if I wanted to search for a person, as I start searching up the top, we can see all of the Marilyns in the system coming up there. If I wanted to search for a property, I scroll across to property, and I can start searching up the top here as I type. Sorry if I'm looking down. Occasionally I'm looking down at my phone screen as I'm typing to show you those bits. So you can see the properties coming up here. And then you just click on the result as it shows up that you want. Going to focus on the actual dashboard screen now, and you either have 4 or 5 widgets on this page, depending on your role and your settings that have been set up. So in here, what we will see is, and it's again, probably not going to be in this order, but you'll see things such as the to-do list, your open homes, your calendar, your offer conditions, and your gross commission. So if you can't see the offer conditions, don't panic too much. It's more of an administration function than a salesperson function. Your offer conditions will come up as tasks in your task list if your admins are processing it in that way for your office. So you should see any outstanding offer conditions coming up in this task list here. Beautiful. So looking at the display right now, yours might look different to mine. So if you want to change the order of the way things appear, or you actually want to get rid of some of the widgets that you see on your screen, it's the little arrows that are up the top right near my face in the top right hand corner of the screen. So there's 2 arrows that face up and down. If I click on those ones, it takes me into my dashboard widgets, and I can choose what I want to turn on or turn off. So at the moment I've got all widgets turned on, and I can also reorder things in here. So to turn something off of it, it's just, you know, pushing that little bar across. You can see I just pushed it across for offer conditions. So now I wouldn't see offer conditions on my home page. And to reorder things, I'm just going to hover my finger on the 3 lines, and that will give me the ability to pick up and drag and drop the items around the page. So putting it in the order I want. Now, I tried to set my screen up how I would think a traditional agent would like to view their screen. I would think that the tasks and the to-do list would be at the top of the screen, open homes coming next, maybe then the calendar, the offer conditions, or the commission. You may choose to change the open homes and the to-do list around, but I find they're probably the 2 commonly used widgets in the actual dashboard, so they generally feature up the top. Then once you're happy with it, just press your save button and it will move that around on the page for you. So just working down the dashboard right now and just showing you some abilities that you have. Obviously up the top, it will be your to-do list or your task list. That's that list that gets emailed to you each night, or where you've set your tasks, so you can control this through the dashboard version as well. So in here, we can actually complete our tasks and do our tasks on the go. So you can see a couple that have been set up already in the system for me. So this one probably here is quite a good one. I've got a note reminder for Tilda Swinton. I'm just sort of highlighting that now as we're going. So it says call as they have a skip out the front. So maybe I've driven past a couple of days ago and noticed they had a skip bin out the front. And so I wanted to put a note in the system to call them about that skip bin. So if I wanted to action that task, I will click on it and I get a number of options that appear from the bottom screen. So I can either view the contact, mark this as complete, mark it as complete and hide it. If I'm working through this list as an active list, then you're probably going to do the mark complete and hide button so that you can keep working through your task list and just seeing the current task sitting there. Or I can edit the task as well. If I wanted to push that task out, something like that, I could also edit the task. But generally what I would do with this note, and you can see a little bit of note detail up the top. So if it sort of goes off of the screen and you can't read the entire note, if you click on it, it will actually tell you up the top what is going on with that task. So then from here, I'm going to press view contact, and it's going to take me into the contact. And then from here, I have a number of options that I can do. I can call this person where that little phone button is under edit details. The speech bubble will prompt me to begin sending them a text message as well. And if this contact had an email attached, I would see that in here and I would have an option to send them an email as well. So this note was to call the person. So I'm now going to call this contact and show you how that works. So I'm going to press my little phone button right now. And you can see down the bottom of my screen, it's prompting me to call this very long and non-existent number, but yours would hopefully be an active number. So you'll click on this one, make your phone call, have a chat with them. Sorry, I'm not sure what's happened here, but my screen has disconnected. Must have picked something up as I put the phone up to my ear then. Maybe it was thinking that I was actually making a call. There we go. Screen's back up and live. We'll jump back in. So I would have called that person, hung up, and then the moment that I hang up, this is the screen that you're flicked back to. So it's prompting you to create a note around the conversation that you just had with that person. So then from there, I mean, I would suggest that you do add a note. Even if you left them a message, it's good to record that you did do that follow up and you left them a message. So I'll press add note here. It records what time I place that call at. So then from here, I could write left message, call back on Monday, or try again on Monday, or whatever I was wanting to do. If you had a genuine conversation with the person, right now you will be able to see in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen a grayed out microphone icon. Unfortunately, because I'm presenting with my phone at the moment, I can't actually demonstrate this, but what you can do is use that button to dictate to your phone the message, and it would pick that up and insert that in there. So that's like the voice to text feature. Super good to use, like if you're on the road and on the run, or if you've got fat finger syndrome like I do, and you know, constantly putting spelling errors or mistakes in as you're typing. So that one's a really good one to use. From here, we have a number of options. We can lock down who has access to this note. So clicking in the read write, you can lock down access permissions if you're wanting to. We can set a reminder for ourselves with this note. So for this case, I definitely would do that because I said to myself that I wanted to call them on Monday. So I need to put Monday's date in here. So Monday's date would be the 26th, if my calculations serve me correctly. So I'll put 26th of July in here and save. And then lastly, I can change the note type as well if I want to put it in as a specific type of note. I might just say it's a general note. So then from here, I will press save. And now that note will appear for me. If I go back over here and go to my upcoming notes, you can now see that that note is sitting in there for Monday for me to call Tilda. But what I want to do now is jump back out and I want to complete that note, that task that I've already done. So I'll click on Tilda there like I just did, and I'm going to say mark complete and hide. And you can see now that's dropped out of my list. So that's how you can complete tasks on the fly, how you can call people. The SMS functionality works very similarly. So with the SMS functionality, sorry, I need to select someone that actually has a phone number attached to them. Here we go. So with the SMS functionality, when I press that little speech bubble, I can either just go straight to messaging that person and it would open that person on my phone app, like so, like I was pretending to message them. Or alternatively, if I go back, it's already prompting me to add a note in as well. So it will do that throughout whilst you're doing this. Otherwise, I can also open my Vault communicator, and this allows me to select if I've got particular SMS responses or templates set up in my account. I can use those then to send out from the system. We'll look at that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. So that is a little bit about tasks, a little bit about contacts in the system. You can also add tasks on the fly. So if it's like not particularly, you know, a call that you're not doing a task, but you need to create a task. Maybe you just got off the phone from someone and you're like, I need to set myself a task reminder to call that person back. You can come in here and press the little plus button at the top. Give it a summary. So it might be call Minnie to discuss appraisal appointment, like so. Set the date that you want to see that task appear in your list, like so. Now we can attach a contact to here, so I'll click that and I'm now searching my contacts in the database. So there's Minnie. If I need to assign this task to another staff member in my office, I can do that in here as well. And then lastly, I can give a little bit more description on the task if I want to. Just type whatever you want to in there, or again, you can use the little microphone to dictate in here. I'll then press my save button here, and now I should see that task coming up in my future tasks as well. So that's how you can set tasks on the fly. As you can see, I was moving between outstanding today and coming up the top. So that's how you can move through each different one. And we can see my little refreshing icons going around and around at the moment. It means it's refreshing the data. So you can press that at any time to refresh the data that comes in. Next section I'll talk about is the open home. So we can see the open home sitting in here. I'm just going to pause because I can see some chat messages coming through here. Can we add a picture to bulk SMS from Shane Fox? Shane, you would be able to, no, I don't think you can actually. I'll try that when we're doing a bulk SMS out after an open home check-in in a moment, but I don't believe you can add a picture. You can add links, but you can't add pictures. Mo has written, hey, tomorrow, can you please demonstrate how to check buyers in like we would using Home Pass? Thanks, heaps. Yep, Mo, we're getting there. We will definitely be doing that. And then Shane said social tile. Yeah, like I said, Shane, when I get to checking people in through open homes and doing bulk SMSing after the open, I will see what we can do, but I don't believe you can add an image in. So we'll have a look at that as well. So for the open homes, you'll see them sitting here. Again, we can toggle through open homes that happened in the previous 7 days, open homes that are happening today, and then any upcoming open homes that we have as well. So you can see my upcoming Saturday open home sitting in the system here. I can also then click on my office button and it's going to show me the office's open homes in this area as well. So if we meet a buyer, we might click here and just say, you know, yeah, we've got these other properties open today, and send them along to your colleagues' open homes also. From here, we can add an open home. So that little plus button will give us the ability to add an open home. So this can be useful if you're doing vendor meetings on a Tuesday or a Monday even, and setting your open homes for the coming week. If you didn't sort of set a campaign or whatever you're doing, you're setting them week by week, you could jump in and set your open home here for the following weekend or whatever you're wanting to do. Just remembering that this is live. So if you come in here and add an open home, it will feed to REA, Domain, the Ray White websites, all of the portals. So this is actually creating an open home for the property. The last thing I will mention is the button down the bottom there, add to phone calendar. You only need to turn that on if your phone calendar is not your Ray White / Google calendar. So if your phone calendar is your Ray White Google calendar, then this appointment will sync across. But if you don't have your work calendar integrated with your phone calendar, but you wanted this to feed into that calendar anyway, then you could turn this on here. I can then begin checking people in through open homes, which we'll do in a moment. And I can also edit open homes. Again, remembering that this is live. So if I was speaking to my vendor of 7 Unity Street and they said, hey, look, can we actually push it out 15 minutes and open it at 1 o'clock on Saturday? I could jump in and clicking on that little pencil icon that's next to 7 Unity Street there, I can jump in and edit that open home to 1 p.m. like so. And then save, and that will update that open home, not just here, but on all of the portals as well. We can also, in that editing area, delete open homes, but again, remembering that's actually deleting an open home. So just be very conscious of these things. And then lastly, when we go to check people into open homes, we just start clicking on these. So when you see this list on a Saturday, like 10 day is Saturday and I'm going out to do my open homes, as the day or the time starts passing, the open homes that have been will actually fade into a lighter blue, and the upcoming open homes will be featured in that darker, richer blue. So the screen almost moves with you as you move through your open homes. Next, we have our calendar. You do not have to use this calendar. If you've got your Google Calendar on your phone and you prefer to use that, you 100% can continue using that. But if you've done the Google G Suite My Integration on your desktop version of the of Vault, then this will sync across here. So you'd be able to see your upcoming appointments for the day, like so. And you can also add appointments on the fly as well. So adding an event in or adding a scheduled viewing as well in here. We've then got gross commission is not interactive at all, and it's the same with the offer conditions section. So for admins who have offer conditions turned on, you can actually satisfy the offer conditions in here. But again, remembering it is live. So we want to make sure that we're only doing that when we have our confirmation from solicitors that that has been satisfied. Amazing. So we're going to jump into the properties now and do a open home check-in, and I'm going to show you the myriad of options that you have for checking somebody in at an open home. So let's start today. We're going to do 12 Bain Street. So I'm just going to click on that property here. If it wasn't an open home that had been allocated to you, you can just go across to the properties on the bottom of your screen and just search for that property at the top as well. So you do have that option. But I'm going to do what we would hopefully normally do on a Saturday, which is just click straight on 12 Bain Street there. So then from here, you've got lots of different options. Depending on how quickly we get through today's session, I may show you a few of these other features that you have available in here as well. But the main focus of today's session is going to be moving through those top 4 options that you're seeing, sorry, that you're seeing there. So checking people in and adding feedback. I'll demo the kiosk mode quickly for you as well. I'm going to look at the website inquiries and holding area and just where and why we would use that. And then the owner summary to sort of see the activity of the property at the end of the day. You do have obviously up the top details on the property. So we can see that this property is currently conditional, due to go unconditional on the 20th and then settle on the 23rd. But obviously it would just say listing if it was in an active listing status for you. So let's start with check in and add feedback. So I will click on that one now and it takes me into the property. I can see previous data in here. So I will see previous open home check-ins. If this property has been on the market with you for a number of weeks and you've only just transitioned to Vault this week, you should see the historical data still sitting in here as well. You'll also see website inquiries and bits and pieces sitting in here as well. So if you just want to see the open home feedback, the trick is up the top where there's filter all feedback. We want to change that just to open home inspection feedback, and that would just show us our open home check-ins. Just a little tip and trick. Up the top, we can change the check-in agent if we want to. So if we are an associate and we want the check-in agent to be our lead agent, let's say Alina is the lead agent, I've just changed across to Alina now. So as I'm checking people in, it will be Alina as FPOC or marketing contact 1, and it'll look like Alina was the one checking people in. We've got a bunch of funny little squares and dots to the right-hand side of the check-in agent. This will generate the QR code for checking in people. So if I click on this one here, you can see it's generated a QR code for me. So I could use this to check people in at the door of the open home. And then, sorry, there's a lot of lots going on at the moment in my world. So if we wanted to, we could do this. Just a very quick precursor to this. It's easiest to create the QR codes in the desktop version of Vault. And if you have the opportunity to join our session at 12, I say 12:30, but it's different time zones throughout Australia. So in 1 hour's time from now, wherever you are, we are running a session called Processing Properties. And on that session, we will talk you through how to generate that QR code, set open homes. We're talking a little bit today about the filing cabinet and the electronic table. So you'll see those a little bit, but again, that's repeated over in the Processing Properties session that's run in an hour's time. And in there is mostly where you'll set it up. You're mostly going to do the setup for these things in the desktop version, but then I'm going to show you how they're utilized in the app. So also precursor talking about QR code check-ins, because this is very topical. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier in the call, but I'm one of the Queensland digital BDEs. So we have just had it come into effect that it's mandatory for the Queensland Health check-in to be used when people are checking in at open homes. And so in this case, you would need to get them to do 2 QR code check-ins. The Queensland Health one, if you're wanting to use the QR code check-in. So you need to get them to do the Queensland Health one no matter what. But then if you choose to use this QR code to get people's information when they're coming into the door, they'll need to do that one as well. And the reason is the Queensland Health one is purely for COVID contact tracing, and your office and yourself don't receive that data. It's, the privacy on that app is quite, locked down. So you don't receive that data. So the first one is for COVID contact tracing. The second one is the one you're doing. And for you, it's for gathering their information. But when you're talking to them, it's about property security and making sure that obviously you meet insurance standards and things like that if something were to go wrong on the property. So that's the reason why we do 2, if we choose to use the QR code check-in as a way of getting people's details at the door. So what I am going to quickly demo for you now on the screen is what it would look like if someone did a QR code check-in at an open. I'm just, grabbing my personal phone and I'm just going to bring up a QR code on my personal phone screen to show you how that would work. It's this one that we're doing. Yes, it is. Okay. Get my QR code up. So I'm going to, you'll see this all happening live, hopefully now. So it's just generating that QR code for me. Sorry, I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Just give me one moment. There it is. Bingo. Okay, so let's pretend this is up on a door at the check-in. This is what your guests or open home attendees would see. So they then need to put their details in like so. So they'll complete first name, last name. Important to note that you cannot proceed unless you put an email and a phone number in. So this guarantees capturing those details as well, which is quite good. So we know that that detail is always going to be captured for them. go. And I just wanted to point out as well, there's a button on ours that says, are you feeling unwell? Obviously that should say, have you not been feeling unwell? But this one's been removed for all of the Ray White accounts. It's just still on our demo database. So you won't actually see that on yours. So then when I press check in here, it gives me this screen. So you would want them to show you this as they're entering the door. But if I was doing this as my check-in, what I would actually be doing as the agent at the door, I would be in here and I would be actually sitting in my website inquiry holding area. So if I'm back on my property, I've got that website inquiry holding area sitting here. And like you can see, it's just put that person in. So I could sit here and just refresh my screen like I'm doing now. So I'm just dragging and dropping, like dragging my screen down to refresh. And as people check in, they'll feed into this area. The reason they feed into this area, as you saw just then, there's no duplicate checking process. So we could meet, 100 people on the weekend at open homes. You could see the same person 5 times. They would do 5 QR code check-ins. That would mean they'd go into our database 5 times and we'd be creating a bunch of duplicates, which is not what we want. We want to create one contact record that kind of keeps track of that person's history. So what you would do is you'll see that these people coming into here. So I'll go, oh, Tamara, yes, I can see that you have checked in. Thanks so much. Please go in, have a look around. When you do that, if you click on that person, you're then just going to press the check-in and add feedback button. When you do this, it should do, like you can see just then when I updated my email address to be correct, it will do the duplicate checking process for you. So it will say, is this person already exists in your database? So if that's correct, you'll press yes. And then from here, what you'll then do is just press save. And that person then is checked into your open home. So that's how we would do QR code check-ins. Now that's a lot. We're going to just go back to the traditional open home check-in now. So for Queensland and some of the other states, they're going to be doing the check-in at the front with the Queensland Health app or whatever state health app you have for your contact tracing. You'll see that come in there, but then they're going to walk up to you at the door and you're going to gather their information just like you would have in Home Pass. So to do that, what we're going to do is press our check-in and add feedback button here. And then from here, we're going to press check-in and add feedback again. And from here, we will now begin entering their data. So you can search by name, search by phone number, search by email address. Phone numbers are quite safe because generally people don't share multiple phone numbers, but it is also good to search by name as well. We have had some instances where phone numbers aren't getting recognized properly, so do just be aware of that. So if I go in here and the person walks up and says, my name is Severus, as the moment I start typing that person in, it will start duplicate checking for me. And you can see already in the middle of the screen, it's saying, is this person Severus Snaps? If this was Severus Snaps, I'd go, oh, Severus, I think I've got you in the system already. I've got your details down here as a mobile number and ending in 731. Is that still correct? Yes, it is. Awesome. Okay, go on into the property. If Severus has turned up and has his wife with him, I can actually jump in and put in additional details to Severus if I want to by clicking on Severus here. And you can see it's opened his contact. So I could then jump in and edit details and add a partner in and so on and so forth. So that's how we can add additional details if we need to. Otherwise, we're just checking this person in. We've just met them at the door. So I'm not going to put any owner feedback in right now because they're literally just walking in. They've got no feedback unless they said to me, oh, Jesus, this hasn't got very good street appeal. Then maybe I might put that in. Maybe they're having a rough day. So then I could move on from here. I don't want to set myself a reminder yet. I don't know whether they're hot, warm, or cold. They haven't talked to me about the contract or adding a buyer requirement in. They haven't given me price opinion. So I'm literally just going to save from here. I'm just going to check the chat because I have quite a few messages that I can see popping up here. Okay. Michelle Benny has said, my tabs are different. First tab, owner feedback and check-ins, then buyer match tab. I don't have kiosk and I don't have holding area on tabs. Tabs are different. No worries, Michelle. If you are an iOS user, just making sure that you follow those steps for setting up. So it sounds like you haven't done the settings, property and expand property feedback section. That's what will make those buttons appear a little bit easier for you. If you don't have, if you're seeing similar to Michelle and you're not seeing those options, just wanting to point out to you that, I'll just cancel out of this. Just wanting to point out to you that if you are on this screen, if you hit menu up the top, you will see those options also sitting there. So if you're on this screen and you don't see those 4 tabs like what I see right now, if you go into check-in and add feedback and you go to menu, you'll see options there for them. But if you want them to appear on the front screen like mine, you'll need to do that settings area. And then Ben has just said, does the buyer receive a text message once they have checked in? Beautiful, Ben, great question. We are literally about to do that. So hold tight, you'll see that happening right now. So I'm just going to quickly check Severus in again. There we go. It'll also tell me if that person's had previous interactions with the property as well, which is useful. So the moment I press save, you can see that my phone has flipped me over into sending this text message out to Severus. It's composed it for me. All I should need to do is press that send button there and it says, hi Severus, thanks for attending the open home at 12 Bain Street, Clifton Beach. Here is some additional information for you about the property, and it's put a link in. If you have any questions, please call me on this number, my name and my office. So if I press the send button, it sends it off and then it flicks me straight back into Vault, ready to start checking the next person in. Now you would have seen that that text message just came through. So I will give you a quick view of what that text message looked like, and then I'm going to take you through how to set that text message up. So if I jump over into my messages, you can see this is the text that that person would receive. So I sent it to myself, hi Severus, thanks for attending, blah, 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 blah. If I click on that link, now I haven't set this property up properly, so let's just go back to another property that I'm hoping I might have set up properly. Sorry guys, doesn't look like I've got any properties set up, and I'll show you how to avoid this happening in just a moment. No, it's not going to happen for me. That's okay. I will, I'll set it up properly and then we'll jump in and have a look at it so you can see it happening live. So to set that text message up, at the bottom of the screen right now, you can see the words automatic SMS enabled. Yours would say automatic SMS disabled. So we just need to enable this for each property. We don't do it for every single open home. We just do it on the first open home of each property, and it's then set for every open home moving forward. So it needs to be done for each property, but only on the first open home. Once you've set it up on the first open home, yes, Narelle, I'm about to get to how to set that up so it does come through after you've checked somebody in. So we're just doing that piece now. So when yours says, I'm just going to disable it so that you see exactly what I said, you'll see on the screen right now exactly what you would see. So down the bottom, it currently says automatic message disabled. I'm going to click on that, and then this is what your screen will look like. So from here, what I'm going to do is I would hopefully have set up an SMS response over in Vault. If you haven't, we have set some up for you that you can use that go similarly along the lines to what you just saw. So if you liked the message that you just saw that we normally send out, then it's just this, thank you for attending open home with e-table link. So if you find that one, that will show, it'll say, hi, first name, thank you for attending open home for, and it inserts the property address. Here is some additional information for you about the property, puts that link in. If you have any questions, please call me on mobile number. And like you can see there as well, it has then my name and my company. So select a template in here. If you don't have templates set up, you can also type a message out And you do have, you can see in the middle of the screen right now, there's a blue button that says merge fields. If you click on merge fields here, you've got your merge fields that come through, so you can copy those over into your SMS message. Then from here, I'll just delete that out because we're going to use that SMS response because I don't want to bugger myself up next time I'm training on this. So you can see that that's coming there. And then what I would encourage you to do is see how it says send through VaultRE. I'd encourage you to toggle that off. The reason being, if you leave this on, it's going to charge you 6.6 cents per 160 character SMS that you do. So if you turn this off, it'll do exactly what my phone just did. When I checked someone in at the open home, the moment I pressed save, it flipped me across into my messages. It composed the message for me. So I've just got to press that button and then it flicks me back over. So it's a one extra click that you'll have to do if you choose not to send it through VaultRE. But one extra click to me is probably worth saving that money from sending it through VaultRE. So that's what I would suggest doing. The very last step is to preview the electronic table. So that's what I hadn't done before, and that's why that link wasn't working for me. So I'll want to press this, and like you can see, it's not currently available for me. So let's go back into the app, and if I save it, you can see it's now creating that e-table link for me. But realistically, you should be setting up that e-table link in the desktop version. And again, the session that's now in 45 minutes from now will take you through how to do that. But now, hopefully, if I go back over here, no, it's still not working. It really does need to be set up on the desktop version. And the reason that it's not working for me will simply be because I haven't got the property as ticked for internal marketing. So, you know, in your portals, you've got an option there for internal marketing. It needs to be ticked for the e-table link to generate. So that's why that's not working, but yours would probably work because yours would be already sending off to portals. My properties don't go to portals because it's a fake database. So that's how to set up those automatic messages to go out from your system. Amazing. So that's the traditional open home check-in. And then I guess afterwards, or if I was walking around and talking to Severus and wanted to put more data into his open home check-in, I just find him on the screen like I have just here. And then I can press on him and edit that check-in that I've done. So if he's got feedback, I can chuck that in there. If he requested a contract, I can toggle that on. If he's a hot buyer or a warm buyer, if he's given me a price opinion on the property, like so, I insert that in here. You're getting the gist. You edit this as you go. I guess the cool things about this app is the fact that you can assign categories on the go. So if I could click in here and assign him to different categories if I wanted to. And also the fact that I can set a reminder for myself to follow this person up. So if I, typed in whatever I wanted in my feedback here, I could then set myself a reminder. He might be really hot, but for the property, wants to bring his wife through, they're ready to make an offer, call on Monday to set a time to bring the wife through. Then I'd obviously set a reminder for myself on Monday to call him to get his wife through. Then from here, I just save and it just updates that for me. Now you can see it's got a little contract requested option next to it now. So this means that obviously this person's requested a contract, expressed interest in making an offer. So I'm going to show you now how to do bulk SMSing or bulk emailing after the property's open home, and how you could share a copy of a contract or something like that with someone after the open home. Before I do that, I've noticed that there's a few chats, so I'm just going to quickly check those. Okay, Narelle, what if the SMS didn't come up after checking in? We've done that one. Does it charge 7 cents per message? Yes, we've done that one. Does it need to be done every time, or is it something that can be enabled via VaultRE online? I'm not 100% sure what that question relates to, Mo, in regards to does it need to be done every time. If you mean, do you need to toggle off sending through VaultRE every time? Again, you only do this once when you set the property up for its open home, its first open home. So if I'm doing, you know, this 12 Bain Street property, I would set this up at the first open home, and that will carry through for every open home. So it would never send through VaultRE if I turned it off for the rest of that property's open homes. But if you permanently don't want to see send through VaultRE, yes, that can be turned off by your administrator, but it means you also won't be able to send any text messages through VaultRE in the online or the app version. So that would be a call that you'll need to make with your administrator. Beautiful. Okay, so from here, we've done our traditional open home check-in. We're now going to do some bulk messaging or bulk emailing after the fact here. So as you check people in, you'll have more than just one attendee probably at your open home. You'll have a list. And what I might want to do is, like I said, send out a contract, or I might even just choose to send everyone an SMS after the open saying, you know, thanks so much for coming to the open. I'll be in touch with you later on to get your feedback. You may also use this area if you've got the auction happening this weekend. You might want to jump in here and select everyone that's come through the open homes and whatnot and send them a bulk SMS to say, hey, auction's on this weekend. Make sure you get in touch with us to register the bid, come down, watch, whatever you're wanting to do. So to send in bulk, what we're going to do, we've got those little select buttons on the right-hand side. So I'm going to press select here, and that will select everyone for that day. So if you had multiple, I don't have any examples in here, but if you had multiple people checking in on that one day, it would select everyone from that day. So then what I could do is I could just untick people. So see how I pressed the one on from Friday, the moment that I untick them, it just drops them off that message. So I could go through and tick and untick the people that I want. And when I've done that, up the top in the right-hand corner, I've now got the option to bulk SMS or bulk email. So from here, I am going to send a bulk email out with a copy of the contract, because this is for a contract requested scenario, but you're seeing that you can also send a bulk SMS as well. And again, with the bulk SMS, you can choose to not send it through VaultRE. What will happen when you do that is it will just compose the message, you'll send, and then it composes the next one, send, because obviously you can't do a group message because then everyone would see each other's numbers. So it just composes all the messages for you, and you just press send, 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 and it sends them all out for you through your phone. For the bulk email option, I'm just going to jump in here. Sorry, I'm just going to take out, this is an example that I did earlier. So I'm just taking this all out so it looks exactly like what yours would. So I'm in my bulk email. I can then put a subject in. I can also put a message in as well. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of questions coming through in the chat. Rachel's just written, can you attach more documents and send through the bulk email, such as rental appraisal or express? 100%, Rachel. I'm about to show you how to attach the attachments in right now. So yeah, great question. We are definitely about to do that. So if I want to, I can put, obviously the subject of the email, the message that's going to be contained within that email. Or again, if I set up some email responses over in the desktop version of Vault, I could click on my email responses and I can see them sitting here. So I'll just use this copy of contract example. Again, if you click where it says copy of contract, it will show you a preview of what it's going to say in there. So you can see that preview sitting in there. If you are doing, you're typing the message in, again, your merge fields are an option there in the middle of the screen. We can pop our merge fields in. I'm just going to select this one for now. In this case, I would turn send through VaultRE on. There's no cost with sending emails through VaultRE, so there's no problem with sending it through VaultRE in this case, so I would leave it on. So we're only turning send through VaultRE off for SMSs. For emails, it's not a problem. Then you've got the attach files section. So in here, when you open attach files, it's going to open the properties filing cabinet. Now, again, in 35 minutes from now, we're running that session, and that will talk to you about how to load documents into the filing cabinet. But hopefully you're seeing the uses for the filing cabinet here. So anything that's in the filing cabinet for the property can then be picked up as attachments. So you could have your rental application forms, or even in here, you could have a copy of the disclosure statement, a copy of the rental estimate, a copy of the contract for sale, all of those types of things. And you can select multiple in here and attach them in. So I've only got one in here right now, but you could click multiple, like you tick, tick, tick the ones you want to include, and then press confirm. And you'll be able to see how it says attached files, and it says one attached. You'd have like 3 or 4 attached in here. If this is the example that we're using right now where we were sending the contract, you would also click that you've sent the contract by marking as contract sent there. And then you can obviously choose who it's being sent from. So if it's supposed to come from yourself, obviously leave that as yourself. If you want to change it to someone else, you can change it to someone else. It's going to show me who it's sending to and that selected recipients. And I can also preview the electronic table if I was using that electronic table link, which was that little link that was in the messages that we were sending out when they're checking into the open home. It's like an online brochure. Again, we talk more about it in the session that's on in 35 minutes, processing properties. You'll see more about that in there, but this is where you could also copy that link. So then I'll press my send button, and it's going to send that email off, and I'll probably get a notification in a moment that that has come through to my email address, because I think that's my email address that's attached to that one. And you find together, there are a heap of other things that you can do in the app, but I just really wanted to show you the basics today. So remembering, if you are using the QR code check-ins for checking people in at open homes, I would strongly suggest that you do sit in this website inquiry holding area and refresh it. And then as people come to you at the door, click on that contact and press check in and add feedback. That will ensure that they're pushed through into the vendor report as an open home feedback option. It's just the easiest way for QR code check-ins. And then you've got everyone sitting in there, so it pushes them into the system automatically rather than keeping them in the holding area for you to process later on. It's also good for you to check off, obviously, their details as they're coming through as well. Well, we are 11:59 on the dot. I will hang around for an extra minute just in case anyone has a final question that they want answered. Otherwise, would strongly encourage you all to jump on that session that's running in half an hour. If you aren't able to make it onto that session, we do run these 2 sessions. So this session that's running right now with me, and then the session that's on in half an hour, they run every single Thursday. So do let your digital BDE know if you can't make it on, and we can just push you into the next session as well. So you can join us for those. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about the app. It's given you a little bit of confidence. I would just suggest like jumping in and checking yourself into a property, maybe jumping into like an unconditional property that you're not going to do any more vendor reports up on, and then just popping yourself into the system just to get yourself used to checking people in. That's, I find, the easiest way to learn. Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me online, and I'm getting a lot of thank yous. And then Sean has asked, where does your username come from? Sean, if you can just elaborate regarding the username, I can definitely elaborate for you, but otherwise, thank you so much, everyone.